YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. Very excited about this one. Something different. We're doing a fantasy mock draft with some of our Twitter super followers. This is live while I'm recording, so it's happening live as I'm recording here, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. If you didn't know, we have super follows available on Twitter. It's for exclusive, bonus content, rankings, more, especially during the season, and involvement in things like this. Is going to be a fantasy league, and there's going to be special involvement for our pick'ems this year during our pick'ems videos. So potentially get your picks featured in those videos. So a lot planned here. Super follow us. We much appreciated. Appreciate everyone who already does. Like, subscribe to notifications on here on the YouTube channel. We much appreciate full NFL coverage. I cannot wait for our in-season content. It's preseason week, so here we go. We're already getting started here. Here's our Twitter. Check it out. Live news, rumors, updates, talking during live games, even the preseason games. Using fantasypros.com for this mock draft. Here's the waiting lobby. All these guys are waiting to draft here. Not all of our super followers are in, but appreciate all of you very, very much. So I'm really excited about this. I'm going to go ahead and just click start right now. We're going to get going. They are... Yes, I would like to start the draft here. Everyone's probably waiting here. So who ended up with the first pick? It is Flawless. Did it just give us weird names, or did we come up? People came up with those names. Flawless Walrus. Let's see if I can get the. So this is just happening now. There, we kind of can see who's picking a bit there. All right. Is there a timer? Timer just started. So what pick do I got? I got pick number 8 here. I like that a lot. I usually like picking, and this is PPR, by the way. I usually like picking around that 7 or lower. I like stacking up on receivers for the most part, but there's so many good receivers that I wouldn't be against going running back early. We just let the super followers know that we started here. The first pick has got to be Jonathan Taylor, I would assume. Yep, it's Jonathan Taylor. But this is just a mock. We will do actual fantasy leagues with. I know some people are still following us on Patreon. We're kind of going to shifting things over to Twitter, but those people will be involved as well. They had a 30-second clock, so we didn't sit here forever in case that happened. But yeah, for that 8th pick, I'm pretty excited about having that 8th pick, even though it's just a mock. So McCaffrey goes second. I wouldn't really be a McCaffrey guy that early. I still really worry about the injury. It's kind of been, unfortunately, happening the last couple of years there, so it's hard to fully invest in a player like that. I was always kind of like that too, just kind of let's kind of stay away from the durability concern guys. And there was one year where it was like, oh, they were dropping so much. Let me take Kittle. Let me take Barkley, because they were dropping right in my lap. And I had Dak that year. That was the year he destroyed his ankle. So it was that was like my one rough year, is because I kind of went against what I normally do there and staying away from the injury guys, unless it's a ridiculous slide in the draft. But we saw Eckler go 3rd. We saw Dalvin Cook go 4th, so the running backs are flying off the board. So if I go if I go my normal route with the receivers, then might be a little weak at the running back position. It's worked out for me in the past when I've done that in the past. It's worked out though. But all right. The running backs are flying off the board. We'll see who goes next. Najee Harris, another running back. It all kind of makes sense for me. I'd be tempted to even go with Derrick Henry's still there. If Derrick Henry is there, I may have to take him, actually, because I know he was injured last year. I still feel like he's a pretty safe pick, though. And that's a running back I'd like to have. And even though I'm a big receiver guy, like loading up on the top-tier receivers, especially if you're PPR, even half PPR, because it's worked out for me in half PPR leagues. If you're a standard league, you're definitely looking to grab one of these running backs. And there goes Cooper Kupp. Dan the Man. Let's see what Dan the Man goes with here. It's going to decide a lot for me, because I really like Justin Jefferson too. So he's got to take one of. He took He took Derrick Henry, so we're gonna go with Justin Jefferson. Let's do it. That's my guy right there. Feel really good about him in a PPR league for sure. In that Kevin O'Connell offense, I mean, he was already productive enough with only 2 years of experience. Without a high-powered passing offense, even though it kind of almost looked that way with him in there once they added him in there. But yeah, Jefferson's gonna. We know he's gonna be productive. What I like too, something else that kind of doesn't get talked about. We see Devontae Adams go 9th. There, but doesn't get talked about is you kind of got to look at the quarterback too as well. And I know Kirk Cousins isn't like the best quarterback, but I do think he's consistent, but mainly he's usually pretty damn healthy too. So like some of these guys, their quarterback goes down and that receiver you took, it's like, damn, well, I'm shit out of luck. Not because my guy got hurt, but the quarterback got hurt. So I do like that as well. Something that's not why you take the player, but in some insurance, feel pretty good about it there. Jamar Chase, which I really like next to me, it's like Kupp, Jefferson, Chase, and Adams. I seem to have Adams every year, and this is a mock, so we'll see if I end up with Adams in my league again. Swift's been rising up boards too, just about staying healthy there, with him. And he's not a guy that I'm going to put that label on yet that I'm really concerned with him about health, but it's in the back of my mind a bit there. And we see the last pick of the first round coming, and I mean you got Kelsey, Diggs. I would Mixon should have a pretty big year. We kind of go to this cheat sheet here, which has got that might be a lot better. This kind of suggests who you should take, which I'm not always about taking who they think I'm supposed to take. Joe Mixon goes the last pick in the first round. Which, yeah, improved offensive line, maybe taking some stress off of Burrow. Maybe they run the ball. The only problem is we can't see who gets picked there with the cheat sheet. Let's see. I got some rosters that are probably cut off. Yeah, we can see my roster once the time is right. Aaron Jones, Travis Kelce, off the board. I was hoping Kelsey slipped through. I'm looking at these running backs. Some people are kind of like, Barkley. I'm feeling pretty good about Barkley. He's looking pretty, not too much is looking good in the Giants, training camp. A little messy out there, but Barkley's looking pretty good, looking smooth, quick, explosive, which some of those things he already had. But some people are kind of like, man, I might have to take Barkley. I'm a little scared about it. But like Diggs, who's still left, last year, I ended up picking very late in first round in the league I won, and I had Adams. It was half PPR. I had Adams. I think it was the last pick of the first round, and then I took Diggs. I think I had 11th, actually. 11th, and then the second pick in the second round, then I took Diggs, and I was very happy with that, obviously. We are on the clock. There goes Diggs. So CeeDee Lamb, Fournette, and that's where it's tough because I like both those guys, Lamb and Fournette. Lamb's going to tear it up this year because he's really – the guy. Fournette is solidified himself as that top guy. I got 15 seconds. I took Justin Jefferson first. I better grab my running back, but I like Lamb as well. That's 50-50 for me because honestly, I might, if we're just talking Lamb versus Fournette, yeah, it's 50-50, really. It's actually 50-50, but so what made me make that decision of Fournette, I took a receiver first, and there might be a shortage on running backs later, and Fournette is a guy, there's not too many running backs. There's a lot of receivers I feel great about. Not too many running backs I feel great about. There's always those random guys that step up that me and you are probably picking up off waivers after week 1 or 2, anyways, so... and then Dan the Man smartly goes CeeDee Lamb right after. I think that's a very good pick there. We can go back and look at everyone's drafts at the end of this too. Hopefully it doesn't take too long here. But funny, I made a recent video of my favorite targets in each round, and my top target in round 1 was Justin Jefferson. My top target in round 2, even though I said it was about 50-50, was Fournette over CeeDee Lamb, and that's who I got so far. So I'm pretty happy. It's just a mock. That's where I'm going to be bummed out. It's just a mock. But I'm pretty happy with that 8th pick and how it's gone so far. So Ryan Goody took that risk on Saquon Barkley. Kamara is so damn tricky, too, because it kind of came out that he might get suspended, but we're sitting here waiting. And that's why you should wait to actually do your fantasy. I think most people do their fantasy leagues, actual drafts, like this weekend. Maybe most of them do it next weekend. I always wait to the earliest I normally like to do them is that weekend of the last preseason week, because the injuries. And then now we're waiting for a Kamara suspension. I mean, it affects all the Browns players with Deshaun Watson as well. So who's going to pull the trigger on Kamara? We see a quarterback sneaking in that suggested area there with Josh Allen, who is the top fantasy quarterback. I'm in agreement with that. How early you take the quarterback? I've seen round 3 is definitely possible. I don't know if I'll be, depending on the board, on my actual fantasy, if I'll be doing it round 3. I've been always open to taking one around round 4 and 5. Sometimes it's weird. Like somebody will probably take Josh Allen round 3, and then somebody panics and takes Mahomes maybe, and then somebody else goes and takes whoever it may be, Herbert, whoever it may be, Murray, Lamar, and then you're gonna like, all right, I might need my quarterback here. But the way I say it is, which players score the most fantasy points, even though they're not viewed as the most important, quarterbacks do. So you want to keep it that way. There's a lot of people that are like, quarterback's not the most important, I'm going to wait. And then your receiver scoring your most fantasy points, therefore, or your running back, therefore, you're not getting as much fantasy points as you really are capable of getting. So that keep it that way is what I always say about the quarterbacks. They score the most fantasy points in football for the most part. Keep it that way on your team. I always I like that. I like where I came up with that. So, I'm usually quarterback by maybe round 6 at the that is very latest. Well, it depends on how the board falls here. So you see who's coming off the board. Tyreek Hill's been, borderline 2-3. I've even seen him drop to 3 sometimes. But it kind of makes sense as a late 2. So my round 3, I don't think he's going to be there. My round 3 favorite target was Keenan Allen. So we're 2 for 2 on getting my favorite targets. Could we go 3 for 3 and grab that guy Keenan Allen there, who I think is going to have a monster season? I wouldn't be surprised. Keenan Allen's had so many good seasons. I would not be surprised. If he had his best season. And there he goes. He's listening to me, even though this isn't a live stream. I'm just live recording over this. Carter, sure. I don't think that's how you say that. Sewer, I don't know how to say that. I'm really bad with the names, but that's a good pick right there. There goes Pittman. I see Pittman kind of rising up. It's like, he was so dominant for the Colts last year. They got Matt Ryan, a fantastic passer. Kind of makes sense. And there goes Pitts. I was kind of thinking about Pitts. So Pittman might be a guy recently that kind of rising up my board a little bit too. Don't really have a board. It's just kind of in my head. I always that's kind of how I always roll there. Do I just be that guy and take the first quarterback there? Probably not. Who am I going to take? That's the question. I do like DJ Moore, too. Having Baker, that's just fantastic. Probably going to have to pull up that cheat sheet but to take a look at some guys here. But, I'm one pick away. We got 5 seconds. Dan the man cutting it close. There he goes. He took Deontay Johnson. All right, so let's pull up. We don't have much time here. Let's pull up this cheat sheet. We'll see who we got. We could take that. Zeke's still there. I do like ETN. It might be a little early for ETN. And then where's the receivers? I really like Cortland Sutton too, though. 10 seconds. Give me DJ Moore. I just drafted him with 1 second left, I think. 2 seconds. It's tough with 30 seconds with the mock. We didn't want to have the mock take forever, but I like DJ Moore with having Baker. I mean, he's already – just think about it. DJ Moore just earned that big contract because he's insanely good. He's still very young. He can do pretty much – you see him like evenly good underneath, screen pass, end around, deep ball because of his speed, his ball tracking ability. He's already productive. Why he got that money – and now he has Baker Mayfield, who everyone doesn't love, but I think he's far better than what they've had over there in Carolina. So I feel pretty good about DJ Moore. I thought about Zeke there because Zeke is, even though he's declining, he's still pretty damn good fantasy-wise. Pretty consistent. I really like what's left still, so I feel pretty good. Probably could have considered a tight end there, maybe Waller. I'm not a huge Kittle guy just because the durability. I really like what's left. Still here. Gonna have a lot of good options. It's pretty tough with 30 seconds, so it would have taken a little bit more time on that one to kind of make sure. There's other guys I would have considered as well. Talked about Zeke, maybe some of the tight ends. What I like there is that I can maybe wait another round for a guy like Sutton. So I could have went with a different position because I know I can get him, get a very good, like, something that's not too far off from DJ Moore. So that's why we do these mocks, though. And having the pressure of the 30 seconds, I think, helps, too. I normally don't really do a lot of these. I kind of run through them in my head almost, but I think this is pretty good exercise here to do. It's pretty fun, too. So, and to see who everyone else is taking, which we'll summarize at the end there. I'm curious. So there goes Josh Allen, the last pick of the third round. That makes sense to me. So could there be a run on quarterbacks now? I had Josh Allen last year. Was very happy with him. Had him and Diggs. That was fun. Mike Williams goes round 4. Heard he's looking more like a complete receiver at training camp, not just the outside contested catch guy. That's fantastic. There goes Zeke. It's a really good value pick for Seth Hutchinson there. We're coming up again. There's a lot of good options. Herbert's the next quarterback. I like Breece Hall. I'm really feeling Travis Etienne. Yeah, my round 4 best targets were kind of 50-50 between Etienne and Sutton. And I may get one of them, though. We're really be loaded up at receiver if I get Sutton here. I feel real good about Sutton. I'm honestly, Etienne maybe has more upside where, there's a shot that he can be one of the better fantasy running backs. And there goes Etienne. It's a good pick there. Take a look at his tight ends. Is Waller still there? I like Schultz a lot, too. You do worry about Waller durability, not as much as a guy like Kittle. Quarterbacks, they're sitting there still. I really like Cortland Sutton. That's just a Russell Wilson guy there. And I've always liked Sutton. If you remember, that was one of my guys. I was a huge Sutton SMU guy there that last year. And I think people get it wrong with Sutton. Yes, he's kind of a big body, sideline, contested catch guy, but he's underrated in terms of his route running separation. You can give him the ball underneath, and he can make some moves too, makes people miss. Was that 2 seasons ago? I think he led all receivers in broken tackles, actually, or forced missed tackles forced, I should say. So Sutton's a little sneaky. Maybe he's a little underrated, especially with Russell Wilson now. So I would consider him in the round 3. The more I'm talking about, I got DJ Moore and Sutton. I think they're kind of in the same boat there. DJ Moore's been growing on me, though, just because remembering that, you get him a screen pass, and end around, a downfield ball, and he's got Baker now. So DJ Moore's kind of been shooting up for me the last couple of days, really, too. So I always love stacking at receiver. We can see where we got my team. I got Leonard Fournette at running back. I got Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, and Cortland Sutton. Nobody's got the same bye, which that's another tip I have. I don't worry about the buys too much. People do that sometimes. I think I've done that way in the past where it's like you're freaking out about 1 week, really. So I don't pay attention to that too much. If you got a good team, the best team you can get, you're going to be okay that week. You're going to be all right that week if you have a lot of buys. Rashad Bateman in the 4th round. That's interesting. I kind of like. It's a little bold, maybe a little early, but he's by far the Ravens guy. And we got to kind of go back to the pre-draft valuation. He's pretty damn good. We thought he's going to be pretty good, so he should be pretty good this year. But, we're loaded at receiver. Jefferson, Moore, and Sutton. I love it. It's worked out for me in the past in these PPR, half PPR leagues. This one is PPR when I was loaded at receiver. So we're looking at, the problem is, I'm glad I took Fournette. I'm glad I took Fournette over Lamb, even though I love Lamb, because at least we got that one of those top-tier safe, what feels like safe running backs in there. We are going to need a running back. We're going to need a quarterback and tight end very soon. So we'll start looking at that. And it's... Yeah, besides the obvious guys, which I think Fournette is one of the obvious guys, it's always somebody new that kind of steps up. I don't think we thought Jonathan Taylor would be that good last year, like that productive maybe. We knew he's good, but Elijah Mitchell came out of nowhere. There's going to be a number of those guys every year, and because of injury as well. I think running backs, there's always those major waiver wire pickups and running backs, like weeks after week 1 even, but week 2, 3. That's kind of how I think of it. We got to just try to find these gems here at the running back position. in a PPR type league, grab those receivers that are kind of sure things that are going to rack you up points. I think between Jefferson, Moore, and Sutton, I love it. I think I'm getting crazy points every single week. No off weeks there. But there goes Patrick Mahomes. And I'm surprised by these suggested guys here. Let's see. Yeah, we got quarterbacks. Some good quarterbacks sitting there. I feel really good about. There goes Hurts. Yeah, I was feeling good about Lamar and Kyler mainly. I like Brady. Brady's people are sleeping on him for some reason when it comes to fantasy. I don't think anyone's sleeping on Tom Brady, like who he is on the field. I'm pretty good at receiver. There is my guy. I love Juju, but he's sitting there still. But I'm pretty damn loaded at receiver. Darren Waller's still sitting there. If Waller's available when I'm picking, I'm going to go ahead and take Waller. I do really like Dalton Schultz because he's already got a lot of reps last year. He's just getting going, getting better. And no Cooper, no James Washington, no Cedric Wilson. He's targets. There's none of these guys. And he's available there. Am I on the clock? No, it's always every time I think I'm on the clock, it's Dan the Man. Snaking my guys. No, he's actually not really. He made some good picks, but I really like what I'm getting here. I'm leaning towards because I'm good with Schultz too, Waller or Schultz, and I might have to grab Kyler actually if he's there, because I do think there's a pretty big drop off because Lamar's gone and he took Cooper. Yeah, I actually got to go with Kyler here. And we know he's good for the fantasy points there. I love Tom Brady. I love Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott. And then some of those guys can move a little bit. But the difference is, Kyler Murray has that deep ball, but mainly he's got the legs too. So he's going to rack up those rushing touchdowns, some rushing yards, and that's why he really separates himself. And there goes Waller, a pick after. That's a good pick there. I'm hoping Schultz drops to me, or if there's a running back I like. There's some good running backs here. Jacobs is starting to scare people a little bit just because he played in that Hall of Fame game. I'm not overly concerned. I sound like what the commander said about Carson Wentz. They're not overly concerned about Wentz's play so far. It doesn't sound great. I'm not overly concerned. I'm not really that concerned about Jacobs. It's kind of in my mind that it is a little. It's a good pick with Mitchell there. I would probably would have considered him coming up here. That's a good pick by Big Ounce. I'm really feeling AJ Dillon lately. It is tough, though, because it's a 1-2 punch there in Green Bay. But Jacobs, I think, starting to drop a bit too much, where you might have to take him at that point. He's still got to be their guy. Like, as much as, a guy like Zamir White looks pretty good, like Jacobs has got to be their guy. But we're starting to get a little bit of a shortage on the running backs here, the legit ones. J.K. Dobbins, interesting. He came back to practice the other day, and I saw some footage from that, and it was weird because my takeaways from that just normally don't go together. Like, one was he looks pretty damn quick and explosive. Great. The bad is he was moving a little weird, like kind of a little gimpy, which isn't good. That means he's not 100%. But the fact that he still looked explosive and quick with that is meaning he's growing. He's still getting stronger, faster. He's kind of, he's professional. Some of those guys, it just happens, some of those freaky guys. So hopefully he's 100%. I don't like to see like a little bit of a limp there. So that's where he's a little risky. I'm on the clock. And Schultz is still there, but I badly need a running back. That's the problem here. I badly need a running back. Dobbins, Dillon, Sanders, Edmonds. Could Edwards-Helaire. I had Damian Harris last year. He scares me this year, though, because they're kind of, I'm gonna go AJ Dillon here. I badly need a running back. It's tough passing on Schultz. That's real tough. That's a tough decision there. But I'm feeling Dillon. I'm hearing good things, which we already did hear good things. But the good things are like, he's more involved in the passing game because he can catch, he can block. They just really like. The only thing is they paid Aaron Jones, and they're just not going to use him. No, they're going to use him. So that's a tough part there. But really feeling AJ Dillon. He should rack up some touchdowns, obviously, and they want to get him going. And he's a guy you got to get carries to. That tank, you got to give him carries, and they want to get him going in the passing game more. And he actually shown signs already in games. So that's where I really feel good about him. I see Schultz gets picked. That's a really good pick by Ryan Goody there. A couple picks after. Yeah, it was tough. I still need that tight end, and Schultz is such a good fan. I would have considered him around earlier. There's just so many good players left. I need a running back pretty bad at the same time. That tends to happen. Now, people don't want to be in. People always fear being in that situation for some reason. They panic a little bit. Badly needing a running back. People don't think about it with receiver, quarterback. For some reason, they think about a running back. I've been in that situation every fantasy draft I've done, and it's kind of worked out for me. Again, there's always those running backs, those sneaky running backs that step up. We're always talking about new running backs. We're always picking up some crazy running backs off waivers. I feel like the best receivers are always kind of the best receivers. There's always the mid-round guy like Cooper Kupp stepping up or somebody like that, but there's no waiver pickups that end up being some crazy receiver. Like, it's really only a running back. So I'm good with if a position being a little risky or gambling a little bit would be running backs, but I got Fournette, so I feel really good about that. Yeah, we'll see if I can grab a good tight end. Every year, this is one of my tips too. You kind of get to a certain point. The point is different every year, but where it's like, all right, if you don't get one of the top tight ends, which Schultz I did kind of view as one of those guys, there goes Juju. That's a great pick by Flawless Walrus there. What a name. Love me some Juju this year. That's a steal in the 6th round. Like, if I wasn't loaded at receiver, I would have probably grabbed him by now. Yeah, it's kind of a certain point. If you don't get one of these top guys, the guys that you get late are pretty much the same. They're kind of all in the same group, so you're better off just waiting. That's kind of where I've been with tight ends. We'll see. We're starting to feel Michael Thomas as well. That's kind of a sneaky pick there. So we'll see where we're at with tight ends. But let's see. Checking my phone during this long mock here. Not super long, but hopefully everyone's getting in. I see people saying they're I'm coming up here. There goes Stafford a little early. Maybe not. Quarterbacks are starting to come off the board. I'm glad I grabbed Kyler. There we go. There goes Elijah Moore. A little bit bold pick here and good things at a training camp, though. What kind of tight ends we got? We do got Goedert. I do like me some Goederts. Running backs, receivers is just steal. Thielen's pretty good. Thielen's a touchdown machine. You do worry about the injuries a little bit. Let me grab Goedert, actually. I do like Freiermuth as well, so that was kind of the cutoff. Like Goedert and Freiermuth, maybe Dawson Knox. Ertz pretty solid. There's some better. I think that drop-off used to start a lot earlier for me with the tight ends. It used to be like 4 or 5 guys, and it's like, if I can't get one of those 5 guys, I'm just going to wait a really long time for tight ends. Now, it seems, we're here in round 7. There's guys that I would take in round 8 and 9, so I guess that's really not how it used to be for me. Goedert, Ertz, Knox, Freiermuth. I mean, Komet racked up yards last year, didn't get any touchdowns. Not too many targets in Chicago, though. He might be the second best target in general after Mooney, perhaps. That last pick's one I would probably think about with more time in a regular draft. All right, good. That I would think about a little bit more. But Goedert should be. Yeah, they got more. They got AJ Brown there to take some targets away. But I think to me that sometimes it just opens things up for guys like Goedert there, and they really like having that tight end. They don't got Ertz. Obviously, it's been a bit, but they don't have Ertz splitting with them anymore. It's just kind of that lone ranger out there, that lone wolf at the tight end position. So I feel pretty good about Goedert in the creative ways they get those guys open and simplify things for Hurts. So feeling pretty good about that. So let's see. I can slide this over there. There's my roster right now. It's going to be really tiny if I make it everything smaller so you can see everything. But, yeah, looking pretty good. It's the only – don't have a top-tier tight end. And that second running back, AJ Dillon, you worry a little bit, like how much is he going to split? I really like AJ Dillon. He's really growing on me, though. And I'm stacked at receiver, and I got one of the better fantasy quarterbacks. So I'm liking it. I'm liking it so far. I'm always kind of a best available type of guy. Like even those times where we're like, all right, we need this really badly. Make sure they're worth that pick. Like when I picked Dillon, where I picked Goedert, I think those guys are definitely worth that pick. So we're not we're not reaching for a need, but definitely looking at best available now. Like who is the very best fantasy option when we were on the clock? Take a look at some running backs. I like Edmonds sitting there. There's a couple running backs I like down here at James Cook, Rhamondre, Stevenson. Oh, yeah, we were going to talk about that. Damian Harris I had last year who I really liked. He's still sitting there. The Patriots, are they going to give other guys more playing time because they declined Harris's option? They're going to move on from him. It's the Patriots way. And they moving on from McDaniels, or McDaniels moving on from them, I should say. They actually switched their scheme a little bit. They were kind of more power running. Now they're more zone. So how does that's tough? How does that? Oh, we're on the clock again. We got Lazard sitting there. There's some really good receivers. Lazard, Ayuk is looking really good at camp. I really liked Ayuk at this time last year, and he started off a little slow. Robert Woods, a really good pick as well. But I'm taking Lazard. I really like Lazard. That was one of my favorite picks in that recent video. Favorite picks each round. To me, there's some guys that could step up for the Packers, but Lazard's got to be that number one option. He has the chemistry at Rodgers. Fits that he's been fitting that Packers ball, that downfield ball. He's going to get yards. He's going to get touchdowns. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a 1,000-yard receiver, which he hasn't been yet. So I like Lazard there. I think he was my round 8 guy in that video too. I just took him in round 8. So love it. I like Kirk. I like Tony. Hopkins is still sitting there as well. Damn, Hopkins is still sitting there. That's pretty damn good too. Could have considered that there. Suspended 6 weeks if you didn't know. Robert Woods is really. I mean, he's the Titans' best receiver there. They got Burks too, but Woods is their best guy. There's a little bit of a drop off, but there are some solid options there at wide receiver. So many good receivers in football these days. I mean, they're just coming out of the draft left and right. Trey Lance. There's 2 Niners in a row. Yeah, Ayuk. I mean, last year we were all hyping him up, and then he was so disappointing, especially for fantasy, for most of the year. Kind of got going late, but he looks like a monster in training camp. Him and Lance have a connection. Coincidence that Ayuk goes by Aiden Weingarter, and then is that B-Man? It's real small on my screen over here. Takes Lance, so those 2 guys go back-to-back. 2 sneaky picks there. Kind of like it. And then Kirk. I mean, Kirk's the top guy for Trevor Lawrence. You would have to think they paid him for a reason. They're going to get him the ball in ways they can. So I think that's a good pick as well. I like James Cook. Fits that Bills offense so well. And then Singletary goes not much longer after. I like the Hopkins. These are good picks down here. Hopkins, yeah, it's tough because you spent it 6 games, but you're getting some legit. Just make it through 6 weeks. That's a really good pick. I would almost want to go back. Good thing it's a mock because I love Lazard, but I would almost consider Hopkins there. I actually would. The good thing we do these mocks, right, for a reason like that. A little tricky this year because some of these big-time players suspended. I would go back. And even though I like Lazard, I would take Hopkins. Why? Because Hopkins is so damn good, but I'm pretty loaded at starting receiver anyways. I can wait to that week 6. I can afford to wait. What do we got here? I'm going to run out of time this time. I was talking during that. What running backs we got? Oh, boy, I don't really like what's there at all. I'm going to run out of time for sure. I do like Rhamondre Stevenson. We're taking him. I didn't realize he was still there. Yeah, it's a little risky still with those Patriots running backs in general because, like I said, it sounds like they're switching scheme, which is weird. It's not the Patriots way. They're switching schemes a little bit, running schemes. So Do they switch who they use at running back? They drafted 2 of them? Did they draft those guys because they fit the new scheme, the adjusted scheme, will say a little bit better? So it is a little riskier. Could they just go, it's second year Stevenson, he's the guy of the future until his contract runs up? Do they start using him now, kind of like what they did with Damian Harris back a few years ago? So, yeah, and Steven, I still go off of, you got to go off of their talent as well. I was higher on Stevenson than anyone out of Oklahoma, so I love the talent as well. Underrated as a pass catcher. He's not the fastest guy, so people think, okay, he's not really a pass catcher. No, when he gets outside, catches the ball, he can turn upfield pretty well, break some tackles. He did it a bit at Oklahoma, so I ended up having Stevenson last year as well. It was a very late pick. I think I picked him in the last round, maybe something like that, because I was a big Stevenson guy coming out of Oklahoma. So another thing that I always do is I always take kicker second to last pick and defense last pick. I always found myself playing defense pretty much by week. Sometimes I hang on to the defense for a few weeks. I always find myself doing that, because every matchup's different. That's football. Every matchup's different. So it would be very pointless of me to take a defense much earlier if I just think I'm going to do that, if I know I'm going to do that. So I always take defense last, kicker second to last. It's just everyone's different, but that's how I've always been, and I feel very good about it. So, so we finish off we got 4 more picks before we take our kicker then defense. So we are going to need our quarterback and tight end, but then probably grab 2 more skill position players, the running back, receiver, whatever it may be there. Could start looking at tight end if the value's right, because Goedert maybe isn't a top tier guy. I feel pretty good about Goedert. Hunter Henry was a touchdown machine last year. Cole Kmet's still there, yardage, but it was kind of lagging on the touchdowns. I almost feel like waiting. I really like Albert O and Gerald Everett, who are ranked right next to each other. I love the idea of Irv Smith. He just cannot stay healthy. Oh, I'm on the clock. So I'm going to wait there. Quarterbacks, nothing I'm loving there. I'm going to run out of time again, probably. What kind of receivers? Tyler Boyd is a pretty good option. Valdes-Scantling. I'm actually liking Valdes-Scantling. DJ Chark sitting there. I'm going to take Valdes-Scantling. Whenever I kind of run through these scenarios, whether it's in my head or not, or the videos we talked about, like we're favorite player and a target in every round, Juju always ends up in my team or in the exercise, whatever the video, whatever it may be. So it's like Valdes-Scantling's another option later. I already had Juju though, so do I love it as much? Now I don't have Juju, so I like having Valdes-Scantling a little bit more here. So went with him. He's that deep speed option that was great with Rodgers. He's going to be great with Mahomes. They don't have Tyreek Hill, so that helps Valdes-Scantling in that system, obviously. So that's why I feel pretty good about him. Hearing good things about Julio Jones. See his name down there a little bit. I wouldn't take him. Worry about the hammy holding up. But hearing good things at training camp. I know Russell Gage went down earlier today. Still looking for an update on that. Didn't sound crazy serious, but I'm not the injury guy. I can't really predict what happened when it happened, so we'll see what happened there. Running backs are a little tricky down here. I love me some Tyler Algier. If you've been keeping up with the videos, you probably know that. Kenneth Gainwell is still sitting there. Just realized that. I actually like Kenneth Gainwell a lot. Like I could have taken him last pick now that I just so short on time here. Could be going Gainwell next. Grab another quarterback, grab another tight end. Tight end we can wait for, it looks like. Quarterback. Cousins, who's consistent but not super, flashy, like crazy amount of points. Tua a little risky. Fields might be running a bit, so that could be good. Lawrence, people forget Lawrence can run too. I'd like Lawrence, perhaps. Kmet's still sitting there. Gainwell, I like Gainwell. If he makes it, though, I'm not coming up as quickly as I thought I was. Okay. Yeah, this is the tough part of the draft. People really don't know who they're taking, especially with only 30 seconds. Let's see. We can slide this over. There's my team. There is that team. This site usually grades you based off here, and I never really agree with the grades. But if anybody does like their actual fantasy league, I always get an email like with my grade where I'm projected to finish record-wise. It's always wrong. It's always, you would expect it to be wrong, but it's always pretty damn wrong. We're coming up pretty quick. Gainwell's still sitting there. Robinson could be sneaky. I think ETN might be more the guy, but Robinson's been so good. But I watched him. He was surprisingly off the PUP list to start camp, and he looked like he was favoring one side, which is not good after that injury last year, which isn't a great sign. But he's so damn talented. I didn't end up with ETN. Man, I'm almost talking myself into James Robinson right now. Gainwell's a good. I'm talking myself into James Robinson. He's just the far superior running back here. Give me James Robinson. I didn't end up with ETN, who's a guy I really kind of targeting. I don't know, maybe a 100% must have, but maybe close. I'll take James Robinson. I think like touchdown wise, ETN and Robinson could split. I think ETN is gonna. That's why I like ETN so much. He's gonna get more snaps because he's involved in the pass game because he's healthy. So I think ETN's gonna get more of the production, the flashy plays. Robinson is a very talented running back. I think he's gonna find himself in the end zone a bit. I think ETN's gonna have those stretch plays, those big plays there. So I'll take the gamble. I like the gamble on Robinson down here for sure. Gainwell's a good pick. Herbert's a good. Khalil Herbert might be a good pick too. Bears kind of switching schemes a little bit. Herbert maybe fits it maybe a little more than Montgomery, but Montgomery's still running back one because he's just better as of now. Herbert looked pretty good when he filled in though, but he can play a little bit more than people think. So that's a sneaky pick as well. And I got to grab my quarterback and tight end next. I really want to get Trevor Lawrence. I do kind of look at the bye for that, on the schedule for that when it comes to the quarterback, I find myself doing. So we got, it won't let me click that. I click Trevor Lawrence. So Kyler Murray bye week 13. We know Lawrence is 11 games. Does it say Detroit? I don't know why I can't read it on this screen. In week 13, so that's pretty good. Who's Fields got in week 13? Green Bay, one of the best defenses in football this year. Jameis Winston, if he's healthy, could be a decent option. Tampa Bay, which the Saints beat them up, but it's pretty good defense. Yeah, I really want Lawrence. I'm hoping he's there. Got a few picks left here. Nobody take my guy. It's just a mock, so I don't know why I'm, getting that too worried about it. But I want to get a good team together here, which I think we've done. And again, we'll take a look at some of these other guys' drafts here at the end. Hopefully, it's a good way to do that. Two more picks until me. There goes Komet. He was kind of sitting there. Back-to-back Bears go. Komet was kind of sitting there for a bit. I think it's same thing. It's like people kind of, he didn't get in the end zone. Is he going to get in the end zone? Somebody took Tua. And Matt Ryan's still there too. Don't do it, Tumblr, Doge. He didn't do it. He took Fields. They're just giving me Lawrence. All right. And I got to grab my tight end next, which I'm hoping Albert O or Gerald Everett, which they're both there. I'm gonna say Albert O is probably not gonna be there. I'm equally as good with the Hunter Henry still sitting there. Touchdown machine last year. Just realized that he is still sitting there. So man, that's tough too. Since they only got two tight ends, you could look at the bye. Where does it say the bye week there? Bye. Okay, we got 10. Where's 7? All right. Yeah, we don't have a conflicting bye week there with the tight ends. Want one of those 3 tight ends there. Alberto, Hunter Henry, Gerald, Everett. Feeling good about those guys. Would be feeling good about Irv Smith if he can stay healthy, but doesn't seem to be the case. And then after we grab that tight end, we'll go kicker and we'll go defense. Like I said earlier, that's kind of how I always do it there. Kicker, defense, last 2 picks. Defense, the very last pick. Algier, it's a good pick there by Aiden Weingartner. I think Algier could. The risky thing, that's why it's a little risky to do your fantasy drafts like now, because right now I feel really good about Algier. They draft him for a reason. He fits that offense. He's really the best true back, even as a rookie on that team, so he could take over all the snaps, be their running back. Why it's risky is they could still make a move for another running back, so it does kind of feel like they need one in a way. So if they make that move, a small trade or a pickup, free agency pickup, then that kind of makes Algier not as great of a pick. But as of right now, I do love the pick. I think he's got a lot of upside there. And there goes Hunter Henry for Carter. That's a good pick. He slipped through. Romeo Doubs is a sneaky pick there for Flawless Walrus. And there's another sneaky pick in Isaiah Pacheco from the Chiefs. Doubs sounds like he's tearing up at training camp. He could be a top 3 receiver for the Packers. He's a deep ball specialist. Very good in the red zone, getting in the end zone. Just fits Rodgers' ball there. And then Pacheco, who his tape he's kind of a wild runner, he's kind of a maniac, just runs full throttle. Sometimes it's a positive thing and sometimes a negative thing, but a high motor guy that you got to appreciate, got to respect. And he's been tearing it up for the Chiefs. Looks like he actually has some upside catching the ball out of the backfield. So that's a really sneaky pick there. And there's Rachaad White, another rookie running back from Tampa, who almost feels like a receiver sometimes, which could be good for fantasy. Just depends on how many snaps he gets. So we're getting, this is that time where I like it. You go for the upside. You're not going to take that guy down here that you know what you're going to get. He's down here for a reason. He doesn't get that many points. You know what you're going to get. You get that guy that you really don't know what you're going to get, but he has a lot of upside. That boom or bust guy I really like, and that's why I really like Gerald Everett. He's a sneaky type, athletic type of tight end, good after the catch. Just can't fumble. I think he had a game last year with Seattle that he fumbled a ton at the end of the year. But him with Herbert, a team that needed another target, specifically tight end, and they like to get creative as well. I love the upside there. Tunyon's still sitting there is pretty good too. He'll get some, as long as he's healthy. He will get the ball a bit from Aaron Rodgers. We know that, especially with Devontae Adams not there, opens up some targets obviously for guys like anybody, receivers, tight ends in there. And we know Rodgers likes Tonyan, so I think Tonyan is a good pick if Everett isn't there. But I'm gonna take Gerald Everett, and then now we just got to go kicker and defense. I had Matt Gay last year on my team my league that I won, so always feels good to get a guy back on the team there. But I do like, Tyler Bass is solid. Evan McPherson had a really good rookie year. Daniel Carlson's been a monster. I had him on a different team of mine last year. So you can't go wrong with any of those 4 guys, but the kickers might start flying off the board here very soon. One more pick in round 13, and I think we're going to start seeing some kickers in defense. DJ Chark down here is a pretty good pick by Hutchinson there. DJ, she's about staying healthy. Another one of those guys. Looks pretty good in training camp as well. Very good outside receiver, which the Lions did not have last year. Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is back, obviously. Solid receiver. Played a lot in the slot. They didn't really have that outside guy there. See a rookie Jahan Dotson go. And we see a defense, the Chargers. Yeah, Chargers should be a pretty good fantasy defense. They will. That's the thing. The idea of the Chargers, they should get turnovers. They got that crazy pass rush. They got J.C. Jackson getting his hands on the ball in the back end. They got Derwin James. They should get a lot of turnovers, which means a lot of fantasy points. which means a defense I would usually be good with like draft, like a targeting. But they play the Chiefs twice a year. They play the Broncos and Raiders twice a year each too. So that's tough. You got to look at who they play. It's all about matchup when it comes to defense. That's why I always took my guy Matt Gay there. We're gonna go with Daniel Carlson. Yeah, I like Carlson. Didn't love him when he was on my Vikings. They kind of blew a game there against the Packers, and then they had to cut him, and now he's one of the better kickers in football. That's just the Vikings kicker luck in the past. But it's all right. He's doing it's bouncing back from that. Like, you're a rookie, you get drafted kind of high, you're this big prospect, and you blow the game in what is one of the biggest rival games, Packers-Vikings, in football. You get cut. The fan base is ripping you. You probably feel like shit, and then you bounce back to on a different team and being one of the better kickers in football. That's ridiculous. That is extremely tough to do, I would imagine. So you got to respect it for sure. And, there comes some more defense, kickers and defense. Oh, Baker Mayfield go. Bold pick there. I kind of like it. But defense, I end up playing by week, so I kind of do pay attention to who they play week one. The Dolphins are playing the Patriots, I know, which the Patriots right now, they're changing it up a little bit. No real offense coordinator. Patricia going to call plays. Could that offense struggle a little bit early on? And the Dolphins' defense is very good, the best blitzing defense in football, in my opinion. And so having the Dolphins for the week-by-week play is solid. The Patriots aren't the worst offense, but having the Dolphins in general is solid because it's a pretty good defense. They rack up some turnovers, some sacks on the blitz. And then you got the Ravens. Who do the Ravens got week one? I forget. They got the Jets, and they got the Dolphins, and they got the Patriots. The Dolphins, am I on the clock right now? They got the Ravens and the Bills in there. I might be feeling better about the Ravens. And there's some other options we can go with. I'm going to take the Ravens here. I really don't get all worked up about taking the defenses. I really end up playing by week. It's just what I do. I know some people, it's not for everyone. But a defense like the Ravens is one that I could see myself hanging on to for a bit there, for sure. So that is the draft pretty much. By roster. All right, so we'll see. Just kind of going to run through. Here's everyone's name and their rosters. Kind of going to run through them very quickly here because we could be all day if we really analyze every single pick by pick. But the first one, Flawless Walrus. Yeah, I already like this team because you get possibly the best fantasy running back, Jonathan Taylor. Nick Chubb is a pretty consistent about staying healthy with him as well. But pretty damn consistent. Kareem Hunt situation makes the Chubb situation interesting and only can go up, really. They decide to keep Hunt. Hunt decides to play. Nothing really changes. If Hunt doesn't decide to play, it probably helps Chubb. They gave me a C. I kind of felt like that was going to happen because I'm not completely loaded at running back. And it happens to me every year. The running back seems to be a little bit of a question for me at the end of every of my actual drafts, and I end up being just fine. I always feel good. I'm loading at receiver. I got a really good fantasy running back, Leonard Fournette. I feel pretty good about my team. A lot of upside here at the running back depth with Stevenson and Robinson. Lazard feels like a starting receiver to me. Got him as a bench guy. So I feel really good about my team there. View draft analysis. Projected standings. So this is pretty cool. Ryan Goody, which we mentioned, he had some good picks. I'm the 10th best team. They're full of shit, that's for sure. Okay, that's crazy that it actually gives you rankings based off your mock. Your position ranks. Where's receiver? Third. How am I not first at receiver? Come on, flex looking pretty good. I'm looking. Yes, they don't like me at running back, which I'm not really a surprise. But expert opinion. It's a premium feature. Steals and reaches. It's premium. Can I just look at everyone's draft, though? Draft board. I definitely can look at that. Okay. I'm going to view by team, so get in order there. I like this team. And who did it say was... Well, we'll get to it. He got Juju there. He had the DeAndre Hopkins pick as well. That was good. James Cook. some sneaky picks down here. That's a pretty strong team there. Trying to see what stands out. A risky team from Carter here, which we definitely highlighted during the draft, some of his good picks. He's got a really good quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. A risky with McCaffrey and Miles Sanders, some durability issues there, but very good at receiver. DK is a little risky because who the hell's throwing the ball? Could it be Jimmy Garoppolo? And then he gets a big boost. Hunter Henry was a steal of a pick, but the receiver looks really good there with Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen. Love that. And then the depth, some loaded up on receiver depth. Really loaded up. All receivers for the most part there. B-Man, Trey Lance starting quarterback. A little bold, but he's a runner. Eckler and Gibson. I think it's a pretty balanced team. You're not extremely strong at quarterback. There's some risks there, but it's pretty damn balanced where the running backs, I feel good about the running backs, feel good about the receivers there for the starters. And then Adam Wine, I think it's Wine. It's Weingartner. That's right. It's cut off. And you got Hurts, who is a very solid fantasy quarterback. It's a little risky, though, because what if Hurts starts struggling as a passer? Do they put Minshew in? Probably not, but it's in the back of your mind a little bit. But it's a lot of points from Hurts there as long as he's playing. Cook and Kamara. Kamara a little risky because he could get suspended, but very good running back group. Receiver group, a little kind of banking on the upside here. Bateman, what he can be, could be great. Gabriel Davis really took off last year, especially in that playoff game. A lot of upside there. Renfrow, Renfro's going to get some points, though. So maybe on paper that doesn't look like the strongest receiver group, but I kind of like it there. I think it's a sneaky receiver group. And you have Kyle Pitts there, who's going to be fantastic tight end option there. So I like it. That's a sneaky good team I'd categorize it as. Everyone's got good teams so far. Lamar, Najee, Breece Hall, that's really good already. T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, Monroe St. Brown. So not super strong at receiver. Pretty strong, though. It's like because Higgins loaded it up last year, and then Godwin coming off that injury earlier than expected. We know he's a sure thing. Mark Andrews, one of the best fantasy tight ends, one of the best tight ends. That's a very good team. You get a lot of points on the ground there at Lamar, Najee, Breece Hall. And then with some of that depth too. Ryan Goody, he was ranked first, that's right. Stafford, Barkley, Montgomery, Kupp, AJ Brown, Hollywood Brown, Dalton Schultz in there. I think it's somewhat of a balanced team as well. No, it's pretty mainly with the receivers there. I mean, Cooper Kupp and AJ Brown, you're getting a lot of fantasy points. Dalton Schultz, you're getting a lot of fantasy points from these targets right here. So I wouldn't say balanced. I think it's stacked at probably the right spot. That's kind of where I had my success as well with stacked there. This is about Barkley staying healthy there. Love the receivers. I really like the receivers. Herbert, Henry, Dobbins, Lamb, Deontay Johnson. That's a good team as well. Gesicki. Having Herbert and Henry, Lamb on the same team. Lamb's one of my favorite picks there too. So far, everyone's team seems good. It seems like a balanced league here. There's my team. We went over plenty. Who was that last team? Dan the Man. Then Tumblr, Doge, Brady, which is a good pick. For some reason, he's sliding a little bit. Connor, Etienne, like the running back group. Diggs, Adams, Waller. It's a really good team. Hunt's going to play somewhere. He's got a Thielen on the bench. That might be my favorite team so far. Maybe if I sat here and really studied it hard, maybe that could change, but that actually might be my favorite team so far. I had Adams and Diggs on my winning team last year, so maybe that's why, but I like Etienne. I like Brady. Connor was fantastic last year about staying healthy. Hunter, big ounce here. Joe Burrow, Javonte Williams, Cam Akers, two young backs that should really take off this year. Chase, Waddle, Ertz, Elijah Mitchell's that's a really good team too. Everyone's got good teams. Mine's the best. I'm kidding. But not throwing mine in the conversation. These two teams right here might be my favorite. Again, that could change if I really sit here and look. But there's some sneaky teams we talked about. I really like those teams. How do we compare here? Burrow should get more than Brady. People are sleeping on Brady though. Williams or Connor, it's pretty damn even Etienne Akers is pretty even too. Chase Diggs, maybe Chase a little bit more, but then you got Adam. Having Diggs and Adams is pretty damn big. Those are two really good teams, pretty even. Seth Hutchinson, which we highlighted during this mock as well. I thought he had some good picks. Got Wilson, Swift. Yeah, Zeke I thought slid a little bit. He pounced on that. McLaurin, Judy. So hoping Judy can take off. Kelsey, so you got maybe the best tight end there. Edwards-Helaire, hopefully he can take off as well. Some good depth picks in here. And then we got IMCC. We got Josh Allen, the best fantasy quarterback. We think Joe Mixon, who could take that step up because the offensive line, and they want to take a little pressure off Burrow. Good pick. Aaron Jones, just kind of a mystery. How will him and AJ Dillon split? Mike Williams, hearing good things that he's more of a complete receiver based off a training camp. We'll see. But that's a good sign, and he was a good fantasy receiver as it was. Mooney is easily the best target in Chicago, so you know he'll get his targets. So that's a pretty damn good team as well. A lot of points from Josh Allen, straight up. Jacobs, who I'm not maybe as worried about as a lot of other people, and some good depth options there. So who did I say? Again, I like a lot of these teams. Kind of going back through, I like a lot of these teams a lot. I thought my favorite teams besides mine were these two right here, I believe, Tumblr and Hunter. Back to the summary. Hunter's dead last. I think it's a really good team. I'm 10th, and I don't agree with that, obviously. So we're not going to go off. I don't know how they come up with points. And then I said Tumblr Doge at 5. I thought his team was really good. I thought really everyone had a good team. I really, really did. Not just saying that. It's pretty cool that they kind of give you even though I don't agree with them, they give you They give you those numbers. That's pretty cool. So pretty cool site. They got all kinds of tools there. The actual fantasy league will probably be, again, with ESPN. But I'm really excited for just football season in general here. Preseason tomorrow. We talk live during every single NFL game on our Twitter. And we talk about NFL in general on our YouTube channel. So join us here, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Make sure you follow that Twitter. Super follow us to get involvement like this video and exclusive content. A lot more where that came from when the season starts. Link down below for anything you're looking for. That is going to do it for this one, though. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Goodbye. That special shout out to those super followers. Appreciate you guys very much. But, yeah, goodbye.